Hi everyone, welcome back to Art Lessons with Rossi. And today we're going to be making a mobile. And our inspiration is Alexander Calder, the American artist whose most famous work are all of his moving sculptures, his mobiles. And we'll be using a simplified version of a mobile today. And those tools that we're going to be needing to create this mobile are bottlenose pliers, wire snippers, an x-acto knife, a thumbtack, 18 gauge wire that you can get from the hardware store, and cardstock. So today I'm going to be using just some red cardstock. And I've already pre-cut my cardstock into these small organic like shapes that resemble Calder's work. Now for you, you can use any kind of cardstock. You can even use lightweight cardboard, and you can cut and decorate these pieces that are going to be the bottoms of our mobile into any form you want. If you want to draw on them, cut them out into very specific shapes, you can absolutely do that. Just choose whatever you want to use for those kind of wings or flags of the mobile. And the way we're going to get started is we're going to choose two of these pieces, and we're going to create the bottom of the mobile first. So we're going to use two parts. We're going to connect both of them with wire. And here's how we're going to do that. So you're going to take a piece of wire, you're going to snip it with the wire snippers. And this wire is really malleable, so you can form it out a little bit so that it creates an arc. And you're going to take the ends of the wire and you're going to crimp them into a 90-degree, like add a 90-degree bend in both sides, like that. Now we're going to take our two pieces of cardboard and we're going to put holes, two holes, close to the edge of one side and on the other. And I would say that the distance between them should be about 1/2 inch apart. Now we're going to take our wire and our first piece, and we're going to go into the first hole. So I have one hole, I'm going to go into the first one with my wire, and if that thumbtack didn't make a big enough hole for you, you can just use it again and make it a little bit bigger. But I'm going to go into that first wire, and then I'm going to go right into this, into the first hole, and I'm going to go right into the second hole, so that that little 90-degree angle sticks out the back, just like that. Now I'm going to take my bottlenose pliers, and I'm just going to crimp it down so that it's holding that little piece in place. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. I'm going to take it, I'm going to go into the first hole, I'm going to push up a little bit and then go down into the next hole. Now that 90-degree angle is sticking up, and I'm going to use, again, my bottlenose pliers. I'm going to crimp it down. And when we create mobiles, we're going to build from the bottom up. So this is going to be the bottom part of my mobile. Now I need to decide where on this wire do I want the next the piece to start going up from. And so I need to find the balance point of this wire. So if I go to the side, it's obviously falling because the side is so heavy. But if I go look closer to the bigger piece, you can see that it's starting to balance. Once I have that balance point, and again, you can just use your finger and find that balance point, decide where you want that to be. You can just grab it. You're going to take your bottlenose pliers, you're going to crimp them, and then you're going to bend up and really tight around the bottlenose pliers. So go up and around the top. And when you're about a little more than halfway through, you're going to grab, you're going to reposition your pliers, and you're going to twist the rest of the way so that you get a nice little loop that that's going to go through. So the reason why you want to do that is, here's another piece of wire. If I just took my wire and I just bent it all the way around, do you see how that loop becomes a little bit strangely shaped, and then the bottom of the pliers also get compensated into that loop, so it's going to kind of throw everything off. So instead, I'm going to crimp it. I'm going to go around the top. Once I've gone around the top, before I start going around the bottom, I'm going to take them out. I'm going to put the bottom one in, grab it, and then go all the way around. So you can kind of see the difference between those two. You want this kind of a loop. Okay, so now that I have the bottom piece, I want some connection rings. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take a piece of wire, about 4 inches is good, and I'm going to use my x-acto knife. Now I've already used my x-acto knife to cut all of my pieces. Here I'm actually going to take out the blade so that I don't hurt myself, and I'm going to use the the shaft of the x-acto knife to make a really tight coil. So I'm going to leave myself a little about an inch overhang so that I can use my fingers and twist, and then I'm going to go around that x-acto knife, and I'm going to make a really tight coil with my wire. Going all the way around. And the rest of that wire I can finish off, or as close to it. So now I have a nice little coil. So what I'm going to do with that coil is I'm going to snip off the part that I didn't get all the way around. Make sure that you keep track of these little pieces or sweep up after so nobody steps on them. But now I have my coil, and I want to come in and right next to the part that is already cut, I'm going to go one level up and cut with my wire cutters. And that's going to give me a nice little connection ring. So now I can take that and actually put it onto my first mobile arm. It's almost easier if you had 2 pliers, so I also have a pair of bent nose pliers, and I'm just going to use that to close off that ring. So here's the first arm with a connection ring. So now I'm going to start adding to my own mobile onto this ring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose another piece of wire, and this one I think I want it to be just a little bit longer than the first. So I'm going to take a piece of wire, cut it. I'm going to go take one side and make a 45-degree bend like we did with the last one. On this side, this time, I'm going to make a loop. So I'm going to grab with the bottlenose pliers, and I'm going to twist that wire all the way around the top, making a nice tight little loop, something like that. I'm going to take my next piece of paper and my thumbtack, and once again I'm going to put 2 holes in it. I'm going to put the wire into the first hole and then have it go through the next hole. and then I'm going to crimp it. So that that wing or blade is on the side. I'm actually going to open this little circle up just a little bit, and I'm going to attach it to the ring that I have made. And then I'm going to close it back up. Okay, so now I have a mobile with 2 arms. Now I have to figure out where's the balance point of this next arm, because I'm going to add on to it from here. I'm going to actually add another arm, because remember this is the bottom, so I'm going to start growing it up from here. So I can find the balance point. If I move my finger around this wire, there's going to be a spot where they both seem to balance. So I'm going to grab that spot, I'm going to take my pliers, and once again I'm going to take it and I'm going to go around the top of my bottlenose pliers, take them out, put them back in on the bottom one, and then go all the way around. And I can manipulate this a little bit, but now I'm starting to get a nice little balance. I'm going to make myself another connection ring. So off of my coil, I'm going to snip off the next one. Nice rings. I'm going to add it onto that piece. I'm going to close it. As you can see, that mobile is starting to really take shape and have a nice sense of movement. So let's do one more arm. This one I think I want to be a little bit smaller. I'm going to take my wire. I'm going to cut off a piece. On one side, I'm going to do a 45-degree angle. On the other side, I'm going to make a loop. I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to take a slightly smaller blade and I'm going to puncture 2 holes in it with my thumbtack. I'm going to go into the first one, then right into the second one. I'm going to crimp it and close that around so it holds the blade on. And then I'm going to attach it to my ring. I'm going to close that guy back up. So now I'm starting to get a mobile with 3 different arms. And I can manipulate these blades a little bit. And now for this next one, I once again have to think, where is the balance point? I'm going to move the camera just a little bit up so that you can start to see the rest of this. So as I have that next mobile arm, I have to decide where's the balance point for it. It's probably around there. I think that's too far. So it's going to end up being really close to the ring. So I'm going to take my bottlenose pliers, grab that spot, twist around the top, move them, twist all the way through with that wire so it goes back to the way it was pointing before. And then we're going to repeat. And we're going to repeat as many times as you want. So as many of these little pieces that you've made, you can make as many arms as you want. So for the rest of the video, I'm going to go on time lapse and just show you how I would do the next 3.